Just put them in the supply thing where the first aid kits are.
The tea stove is above the water.
Okay. Recording this so that we can use the recording later for folks who are not able to sit on the call. So I'm delighted to introduce you to Ashley Bell. Ashley serves as the SBA Regional Administrator for Region 4, as well as, and he is also the Entrepreneurship Policy Advisor for the White House. Oh, and if you're unmute, oh, there you go. Opportunity and Revitalization Council. As the SBA Region 4 Administrator, he oversees SBA programs, offices, and operations across the southeastern United States, where thousands of aspiring and existing entrepreneurs receive high-quality assistance, including SBA-backed loans valued at over $5 billion. He recently served and was appointed by the President as the White House Policy Advisor for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. He is the SBA's point person for the agency's role in the nationwide Opportunity Zone effort. He's a seasoned entrepreneur, having opened the doors to his first business while he was still in law school at the age of 22 in the heart of Gainesville, where I actually went to college, Georgia's African-American community. A lawyer by trade, he began his career as a public defender and went on to become a trial attorney and co-founder of a law firm based in Atlanta. He brings an enthusiasm and commitment to his work at SBA and the White House, born out of a personal understanding of the challenges and successes small business owners face. He knows firsthand the transformative power and positive impact they have not only on the lives of their employees, but also on the communities that they serve. These personal experiences fuel his dedication and tireless tenacity to promote OZ and the mission of the WHORC, which was developed as part of the President's commitment to all Americans, including those living in underserved and rural communities. He's received many accolades for his demonstrated leadership. Notably, he was recognized in 2016 as one of the top 40 young lawyers by the American Bar Association. He was a 21st Century Leadership Fellow at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government and holds an honorary doctorate degree from Lighthouse College. He earned his law degree at Louisiana State University, home to the 2019 National Football Champion Fighting Tigers. It has been said of him, he is a true leader, skilled communicator, and a devoted advocate for the small business community. He is a strong voice for small business owners across the country. So Ashley shares his life and his love with his wife, Lauren, and their 3 children. We would like to welcome you, Mr. Bell.
Thank you for that introduction. I appreciate you having me today, and thank you so much for everyone who is joining us, hopefully safe and sound in their homes or in their office, social distancing. And it's good to hear you spent some time, I guess, in Bernal. I guess that was
yes, sir.
Where you were? Yeah. My mother went to Bernal. It's a great school, and I hope you enjoyed your time in Gainesville. It's a great town, and good to be with you in Liberty County today. And I just want to say that, hopefully today we give you some information that is useful for you and your businesses, your nonprofits, and the places where you worship. SBA is not the SBA that you normally are used to right now. The SBA that you know is usually counseling people and working with small businesses to grow and develop plans to expand, helping startups, and helping them find access to capital and government contracting opportunities. But now our focus has shifted. Our mission is still the same, but expanded by the president placing SBA at the tip of the spear in this fight against the economic crisis caused by this virus. So what does that mean? That means that SBA has now, in the state of Georgia, declared Georgia a disaster area for small businesses. Working with Governor Brian Kemp, in early March, we began to collect data from all 159 counties to make sure that the reality was that Georgia businesses were losing sales and were declining because of the virus. And so working with the Governor's Kemp's office, we were able to get SBA Administrator Jovita Carranza to declare Georgia a small business disaster. So what does that mean? That immediately opened up EIDL loans, which are economic impact disaster loans, for any small business or nonprofit in the state of Georgia. Georgia was one of the first in the region and one of the first in the nation to receive this declaration, which gave Georgia an distinct advantage in making sure our businesses were taken care of and have access to those resources. So I know today you may have some questions, and I'm glad that Terry Dennison, our state director, is going to join us today. So that if I do have to leave, Terry is going to be in good hands with Terry as she answers any questions you may have. But our EIDL loan is very simple. Nonprofits and for-profits alike, you can get a loan directly from SBA. That's a little different because most of the time you're used to going to your lender for SBA support. This loan is directly from us. And so what that means is that you can apply at SBA.gov and get a loan up to $2 million that has some pretty incredible perks to it. Some of those perks include that you do not have to sign for collateral or personal guarantee up to the first $25,000. The first payment on this loan does not have to be paid until 1 year after you sign the note, as well as being able to extend the loan out over 30 years. So for small businesses that are seeking working capital, there's a very unique opportunity to not only get immediate cash for your business, but also to plan for the future and make sure that you're not only jumping out of this economic hole, but you're jumping out and you're ready to run directly in a direction where your success that you plan for your business has always been. We want to get you back on track as soon as possible. And there's a advanced portion of this loan. For those businesses with over 10 employees, if you apply for this loan, let's make, for example, you apply for a $25,000 loan and you have 10 employees. If you do, around 72 hours later, you can receive $10,000 in an advance for that loan. That means that money is yours. You do not have to pay it back, which means your loan actually will drop from $25,000 to $15,000. That gives you $10,000 very quickly to address your economic needs for your business. Now, the Payroll Protection Program, which I know so many of you have heard about. The Payroll Protection Program was initiated in record speed. When you look at the date that the president signed it, we only had 5 business days to actually stand it up. And we were able to do so working very closely with the Treasury Department and SBA. To the Friday after the president signed it, we're able to at least initially have banks submitting applications for the PPP program. And billions of dollars have been allocated to that program, and many of those are in Georgia. So we're excited about the program. The program allows you to get 8 weeks of and some utility bills paid by the government. Your lender will loan you the money, and if you are able to keep your employees, don't fire anybody or hire back the people who once were your employees, that allows that loan to be forgiven. Now, what's most important about this development, because I know you've read a lot about it, is this past Saturday, the loan was expanded with clarity to include our faith-based organizations and our churches. For all of us that have a place of worship, this is an important opportunity. For the very first time, churches, our faith-based organizations, can 100% participate in SBA loan programs. So if you have a small church out there that, much like our businesses, that have not been able to gather because of the health concerns, that don't have online services or way to collect donations and tithes, this is a way for them to participate by contacting their local lender as well. These 2 programs can be used together. You can use both. So don't think that what I'm mentioning to you today means that you have to pick one or the other. The only difference is that you can't use both for the same thing. If you're going to get a payroll protection loan, that's fine. You just can't use the EIDL for payroll as well. So long as you differentiate, both are an option to you, and both can be tools as you rebuild your business and tools that you can use to plan for success in the future. For more information about your EIDL program, please go to SBA.gov. If you want to learn more about PPP, we have information on our website as well, but contacting your local lender would be the most quickest way the quickest way for you to get information and to get involved in that program. So I want to thank you for letting me give an overview, and I'll turn it back over to the moderator.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Dennison, did you want me to ask these questions now, or did you want to?
Yeah, you can ask questions. Yeah, Terry, you want to take the questions? You got it from here?
Oh, she keeps muting herself. Oh, Ms. Dennison, we can't hear you. You're muted for some reason. There you go.
Okay, how's that?
That's good.
Good. Yeah, I can take questions, or if you want to take some of the first questions, Ashley, that's
No,
fine
Terry,
as well.
No, I'm gonna tell you, we got a great state director here in the state of Georgia, and I'm turning you over in great hands. Terry, I'm gonna turn it over to you to answer any questions. Please let me know if you need any support, but
Okay.
I'll be with you again soon, okay?
Okay, take care, Ashley.
Thanks, Terry. Take care.
You too.
All right. Some of the first questions that we have, one of the folks said they applied for the EIDL after the new application came out. When should they expect a response from the SBA?
Yes, I saw that question. They are hopefully within the next week or so. I know that they did stand up the new portal, and also the agency's been working to beef up its backroom functions in terms of the processing center where these are actually reviewed and decisioned, as well as the customer service function, et cetera. So as they bring on more people, those response times should go down significantly. But I'm thinking you turned that application in like a couple weeks ago. So I would probably say another week for that initial batch of applications.
Okay, the same person also said that their bank is not taking applications. Does SBA have advice for that?
Yes, we have been hearing that a lot, and actually under Ashley's leadership in our region, which is 8 states, including Georgia, we are in the process of actually surveying the lenders in our market to see exactly if they're participating, and if they are participating, are there any additional parameters that lenders requiring. We do have a function on our website where you can look to see what other lenders are may be available to contact. The only other thing I would say is it may be a matter of having to use the EIDL loan, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. I know it's a loan. People, of course, obviously would like to have something that's forgiven, but given that time is the essence, you know, that may be something you would use until there's, you know, additional participation in PPP or your lender changes their mind.
Okay, the same person said that their bank's not taking the PPP yet either, so I'm assuming the same answer would apply.
Yes.
Okay. How soon are the PPP funds, will they be paid out? I heard it was up to 3 to 4 weeks. Will the program run out of funds prior to the submission of all the applications?
Well, I don't think in terms of an individual transaction, really trying to shoot for, you know, a matter of a week or two. And as I say, they are beefing up systems to try to speed that process up. In terms of, I know everybody's concern is if you do the math, X number of small businesses around the country, X amount of money, how long is this going to last? The president did state yesterday that his intent is to ask for additional funds specifically for small businesses. And I would think that would be for this particular program. So if funds do run out, there's a very good chance that additional funds would be made available.
Okay. 2 other banks I contacted said that they would service their own customers first before considering new ones. I appreciate the work of the SBA. Thank you for your answers. Another one, are self-employed and independent contractors able to apply for the PPP for their payroll as directed and for the EIDL loan for revenue lost? Our realtors are 1099 independent contractors and would like to know which assistance would be right for them.
Okay. 1099 and self-employed individuals, sole proprietors are eligible for both the PPP and EIDL. The only caveat, and I believe Ashley alluded to it, was that you cannot use the funds from each one for the same exact thing. Keep in mind that the PPP, the emphasis is on payroll, and at least 75% of the proceeds need to be used for that purpose, to retain your employees or to bring employees back if you've let them go because of the current situation. You can use the other 25% for things such as utilities, rent payment, mortgage interest payments if you're buying your building. EIDL, same thing. Of course, it's more broad. There aren't specific percentage requirements with regards to how much of the loan you can use for what particular purposes. So, for example, if you have a lot of payroll, you may want to focus the PPP on that and then allow EIDL to cover some of those other expenses that you have that you aren't able to cover.
For realtors who have employees, are they able to do both of those?
Yeah, the realtors can do, the realtor can do, they could do both EIDL and PPP. Once again, the key is what you're using each for. If you, for example, and another thing to keep in mind, if you get the EIDL first, get that approved, then subsequently you get a PPP loan approved, then part of the PPP, they're going to incorporate into that amount that is borrowed under that program funds to take out the EIDL loan to eliminate that duplication. But the answer is yes, realtors could do both.
Okay. Don't see any other questions right now, Ms. Dennison. Would you like me to share your PowerPoint slide?
Yes, we could do that, and then I can go through a couple other things that Ashley maybe did not touch on.
Okay. If I can get Zoom to work. Let's see. Share screen.
I'm really getting to like Zoom.
Yeah, me
I haven't
too.
used so much Zoom before, so.
Figure it out. And let's see. Come on.
Okay.
Okay, everybody should be able to see it now.
Okay.
Can y'all see it?
Okay. Okay, I see it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, like I said.
Oh, and now you froze, Miss Dennison.
The CARES Act that was recently passed, that's part of our standard loan offerings under disaster assistance. One thing that did come into the CARES Act is the advance, which I believe Ashley mentioned as well. And that is, if you apply or applying now particularly for the EIDL, then you're automatically applying for the advance. The only thing I would say is that it's up to $10,000. I think I've seen some literature or descriptions that it's to suggest that's a flat $10,000 for everyone, and that's not the case. It is based on the formula and in relation to how much you're borrowing from the EIDL, what that amount will be. But it will go up to they'll go up to that $10 million threshold. One thing that Ashley didn't touch on, and this is yet another option for people if they're needing funds right away as they await the EIDL loan being approved, is the SBA Express bridge loans. This is not new. This is something that has been in existence as a pilot program for a couple years, and is usually used in conjunction with the EIDL and other disaster loans, basically providing bridge, as the term would suggest, or interim funding while you're waiting for the EIDL loan to be made. This is provided not by SBA like the advance would be, but it's provided by commercial lenders that are participating in the SBA Express program, which is a streamlined program that we implemented, goes up to $350,000 generally. In the case of the bridge loans, goes up to $25,000. So that is an option on that you can utilize. And then, of course, we've talked about the pay check protection program, payroll protection program, Ashley, and the features of that, that it is forgivable. You know, it's a $10 million loan, 1% interest. I know there's some things that older documents that may say 0.5%. It was actually changed immediately before it was implemented last week. So it's 1%, no fees. Normally with our guarantee program, there's fees attached to the guarantee. There's no guarantee fees, no fees from the lender that may be customarily charged there. The parts of the loan that aren't forgiven, then those is what you would have to pay back, and you would have 2 years to pay that back as well. One other thing I don't have on there, if by any chance you're an existing SBA lender, the CARES Act did provide for monies to cover SBA loan payments for 6 months, and that's principal and payment interest, interest payments for up to 6 months. Lenders already have the authority in many cases to extend a 6-month deferment when there's an economic hardship, such as the situation we're going through now. If they did that, the borrower can still take advantage of this particular program. My understanding is it's being done automatically, and that's in the process of being formulated as far as how to implement that and get that part of the CARES Act in action. But that would allow even up to a year of some kind of relief for those current borrowers, either the initial deferment and then actually having the monies paid on their behalf for 6 months after that. I think, we got any more questions?
No, ma'am, I don't see any other ones.
Okay. The one thing I would say is this is a very, very fluid situation. We had basically, especially with the stuff with the CARES Act, and even with our EIDL program that's established, everything happened in such a tight time frame, tight window. And it's, even in the best of situations, it takes, weeks or months normally to try to implement or stand a new program. We had to do it in 5 working days, basically, a work week. So the one thing I would say is continue to go to sba.gov/disaster. And then also the Treasury's website, treasury.gov/CARES, as in CARES Act, to see what the current information is, because literally they're updating those sites, and we're getting information throughout the day, every day, since these things were rolled out.
Are there any other questions?
Oh, I think I see one.
Current borrowers or 7A loans, will the principal and interest be deferred?
Yes. It can be, right now there's a couple things. It can be deferred if the lender elects to defer it. So that depends on the lender. However, the part of the CARES Act that actually provides funds to cover 6 months of principal and interest payments, that is going to be applied uniformly. Like I said, my understanding is you don't have to apply to do that. That's something that's going to be automatically done. And our headquarters office and Treasury are working out the details on how to facilitate that.
Okay. With the PPP, my understanding is a forgivable loan for employers up to a certain amount. Independent contractors receiving 1099s do not have to pay the PPP back like the EIDL. Is that correct?
Well, actually, it's not a matter of whether you are a independent contractor or, an LLC or S Corp or C Corp. It's a matter of the expenses being, what the monies are being used for, and if at least 75% of those funds are used for payroll protection, either to rehire people if you let go, or to keep your your employees on. The other caveat on that is you not only have to, part of the conditions for forgiveness is that you have to keep the employees on or bring them back on at the same level of compensation. So if you cut back on, if you don't bring back everybody, or you do let go of some people but not everyone, then that amount would be prorated in terms of what's forgiven. There'd have to be an adjustment made. Same thing if you keep everybody on payroll but maybe you reduce their hours, then that would be an adjustment as well. So to get the maximum benefit, you bring back or keep your employees at the current employment level, and also in terms of the current compensation level for 8 weeks.
And for the 7A loans, again, the principal and interest deferment, is that up to the lender?
Well, the deferment is, there's two things here. There generally, lenders can, and it doesn't have to be tied to a disaster or an economic injury situation like we're going through now. It can be an individual situation where the borrower may ask for a deferment, and we authorize lenders participating with SBA to give deferment up to 6 months. So that's a tool that they have, and it's at their discretion to use. However, under the CARES Act, monies were actually set aside to cover and pay the principal and interest for 6 months. So at a minimum, 6 months of payments will be covered. At the maximum, you could get a deferment for 6 months, then followed by having those 6 months of payments covered.
Okay. And then I think I know the answer to this question. You said that you were, or that the organization is surveying banks, and once you have a list of those, it will go on the SBA website, correct? Those that will be helping?
We're probably not going to put them on website, but we're trying to make that, we'll make that information available. Probably you'd have to contact us. You can email us at georgia@sba.gov. And that's the best way right now because we're all teleworking for the most part.
Georgia@sba.gov.
And that's spelled out. Yeah.
Type
Georgia,
that in.
yeah, Georgia, GEORGIA@SBA.gov.
All right, I typed it in the comments for everyone so they can see that. Let's see. Locally, I can tell the folks on this call, Ameris Bank and South Georgia Bank are both doing these. I'm not aware of any other lenders at this time. And Lisa Espada with Strategic Business Solutions is helping with all the paperwork. So if you just feel bogged down with the paperwork, she is happy to do that as well.
Yeah.
We have another question. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Citizen.
No, and I know someone else is mentioning that Queensboro is also taking applications. What I was going to ask is, do we have a sense of whether they're taking the applications generally, or once again, limiting it to their customers?
I don't know anything about Queensboro. I've never even heard of that. That says they're limiting to their customers.
Okay.
Let's see. For those of us that are employing people at varying hours per week already, all part-time, how would that work with the PPP reporting? The FTEs will stay the same or go up?
Stay the same or go up. I'm not quite sure if I understand the question. It sounds like what I think I'm hearing is, because you have part-time and full-time employees, how does that affect, you know, how the employment level is assessed as having gone up or stayed the same or
decreased? Yeah, I think that's what she's asking. She has part-time and she has full-time. Nobody's hours are changing, but how does that work with reporting for the PPP?
Because really, they're not looking so much at full-time, full-time versus part-time. What they're looking at is payroll, being salary and compensation and benefits, because benefits are included along with your actual cash out salary or wages. So, the overall total of that, including the part-time and the full-time employees, that's what's being looked at, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
No, there may, maybe another way to put it, since the law doesn't really make a distinction, then I think that does give you a little wiggle room in terms of, you know, the difference you might have with part-time, monetarily part-time and full-time. But they're going to be looking at the overall figure.
Are there SBA grants for nonprofits that are not faith-based?
Well, there, in terms of EIDL, being able to get the advance, et cetera, yeah, any nonprofit that is public, I mean, excuse me, private nonprofit would be eligible. So it doesn't have to be faith-based. It's inclusive of faith-based, but nonprofits that are 501c3s would be eligible.
All right. Any other questions out there? Oh, so not loans, but grants for those nonprofits.
No, there isn't a grant from us.
Any other questions? She said, thank you. All right, hearing no other questions, we are going to close out this Zoom and say thank you very much to Ms. Dennison and Mr. Bell, who got off the call, for their time. We do appreciate it very much. It means a lot.
You're welcome.
So stay safe.
You too. Everybody stay safe and take care.
Bye.